Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I should be back here. Okay. Oh, okay. Trying to get Steve back again. Having a little bit of difficulty with getting him here for some odd reason that I do not understand. But we are trying mightily to make this an excellent experience for everybody, free of technical difficulties. Dang it. Steve, I am inviting you. I really am, I promise. Oh, I might do that. I'm gonna follow some advice that I just got. Oh, what just happened there? Steve, is that you, buddy?
Got it.
Excellent.
Simple, see? Told you
Just
that
like that, kids.
this was just a test. We were seeing if you were paying attention.
Yep. Is everybody paying attention? Okay, good. I don't know what happened there at all. Like why I suddenly went silent.
I think we did a great job of sign language, which
That's
apparently I might have been saying swears.
apparently that's what I heard or saw rather.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Note to self: trying to unplug your mic and plug it back in doesn't suddenly make your voice come back. In fact, it makes it so you also can't hear. At least at least with my mic and my computer, that's what happens. Um,
So you were saying
so,
about your yeah. Go on.
well, what did I miss? I have no idea where I was.
You were talking about the individual armor that they had in the movie
Oh, right, right,
and
right.
how they were trying to identify
Yeah,
them.
I was pretty much done with that rant actually. And I think No Fear posted a thing that she saw from IMDb that it might have been like Spoils of War or something like that. And the Arthur that we were given in the movie totally would have let that fly. So, okay, I'm willing to accept this as an explanation. I can roll. Um,
Now, from what I remember from the movie, they had that typical part of the evil clergy
oh,
doing something
geez.
really horrible to the
Oh,
populace,
absolutely horrible. Actually, yes.
and yeah,
It's like, I know actual monks and they take showers and they're not sniveling, coward, arrogant bastards who are eager to lock people up in deep holes underground. In fact, they're actually
yeah,
pretty cool. Um,
and wall them
and
up in
they,
this
and they make like
dungeon.
and they make like the best pancakes like
True.
ever. Um,
That was just one of those parts of the movie that made me roll my eyes instead of just snicker, because it was again like we've talked about before,
right.
that
Yeah.
same typical blah blah blah
Yep.
commentary by the director.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There will if there's a person, especially if there's a character who is faithful to Rome, you can guarantee they're the bad guy, or at
Hmm.
least a bad guy. Maybe not the bad guy, but they're going to be a bad guy. If they're a good guy, they're either going to be A, pagan, or B, not on the best terms with Rome. It's pretty much an infallible stereotype.
Hmm.
It's like just checking a box at this point. And I don't want to beat this horse too much. It just gets so annoying when it's
It's true.
every movie.
That's so funny. The checklist. I bet you there is a checklist. It's like, okay, we need a villain. This is what the villain or the hero is. We need a villain. Here's the 4 people that we're going to choose from, just with a different name and
Yeah.
different crime.
Yeah, it's like exactly. It's oh yeah. Well, actually, Cardinal Richelieu, from what I understand, pretty much was actually a jerk. I don't know if he was quite as mustache twirling as he was in the Disney Three Musketeers.
I like that Disney Three Musketeers.
I
That's how
do
sad I
too.
am.
It's quite the little guilty pleasure. Actually, speaking of guilty pleasure, Three Musketeer movies, did you see the Paul Verhoeven remake that's all steampunkish and
I
has
missed it at the theater, and I still haven't seen it on TV. So
yeah,
I was
haven't
looking
either.
forward to seeing it, even though I knew what it was going to be about.
Oh yeah, I mean it looks absolutely cheeseball, but man, it looks like my kind of cheeseball.
Exactly.
Oh, Bandy, what did you think about it, buddy? Yeah, yeah, that's what it looked like, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, I did like a lot of the fashion, right? Because I mean, I'm gonna nerd out myself here, but I do
So, I
have
mean,
the whole
wait a minute, hold on,
Renaissance
hold on.
Musketeer
You're just,
garb.
I was gonna say you're about to nerd out yourself.
Nerd
Really?
more of
I was gonna
myself.
say, I mean, really, you know which website you're on, right?
But you know what I could try to say? I could try to say, no, but it's historical what I'm doing. I have the whole authentic Musketeer garb that a friend of mine who handmade it for me, and which goes with this and the gorget and the hat, and we do real fighting, not stage fighting with it. So I liked all the fashion in the movie from what I saw from the trailers, and a lot of what they were doing with the swordplay, how they were actually holding it, looked kind of authentic. But as far as I know, I have no idea.
Well, when you watch this about the stuff, when you're the stuff that the little featurettes about the movie, it actually they said that it was really authentic.
Hmm.
Of course, they always say that.
Of course,
They never say we totally made all this crap up and it has absolutely no basis in reality whatsoever. Come see our movie, please. Thanks.
of course. All the steampunk stuff. Yeah, it's totally true.
Oh gosh, that was the best. I mean, I haven't seen the movie. I just saw the trailers, but I'm like, freaking awesome. We've got balloons with cannons, and yes, this is official. This looks great, actually. I can totally go watch this.
If you want to see really good Musketeer movies, 1971, The Three Musketeers with Mike O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Excellent fighting.
Oh, I have not seen it at all, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to check that out.
If you want to see another movie with really good authentic dueling, like with swords fighting, that's authentic fighting, is
Yeah.
The Duelist.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Takes place in the Napoleonic Wars. It's between 2 officers who don't like each other, who keep dueling each other, and apparently it's a true story over 15 years.
Wow,
They
really?
dueled each other like 30 times, and like nasty fights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really good
That's-
movie.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. The Duelist.
Yeah, The Duelist, and it's
Okay.
how they're fighting because they trained for a few months before, and they're doing a good job.
Okay. Another really good. I don't know how authentic it is. You would be able to judge it far more than I would, obviously. But there's a movie called Scaramouche, which is really got some awesome sword fighting in it. There's a sword fighting scene in it that actually, at least for my money, topped the Princess Bride sword fighting.
Oh,
scene.
neat.
Yeah, like it's the only one I've ever seen that actually does top it in my mind anyway. But it was phenomenal. Check it out.
Very cool. I'll have to check that out for sure.
You know what? I think we're gonna. You want to invite Banders in?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna do it right now.
Do it. Oh, I hope he's wearing clothes.
Me
This
too.
time.
Oh, you know, the
So-
last time was just horrible.
It's bad. It's bad.
I mean, it's a good thing we didn't take pictures because
Most people get
actually no,
clothes
you know,
on before.
we should have taken pictures because then we'd have blackmail.
No, because you can't unsee that.
That's true too. Well, we could use it to blackmail everyone else.
That is very true.
Give us your ice cream, or we will show you this. And you just show a little corner.
Yes. Him naked with his pipe.
Why do I get the feeling that you've actually seen this?
He's doing his sigh impression right now. Banny will do his sigh dance for us if we invite him in.
Oh wait, is that the? Oh, I totally missed that reference at first because
Yeah.
I've never actually heard the song. I've just heard.
You haven't?
No, I am so.
Just for you guys.
Crap.
Just for you guys.
I think we've officially jumped the shark.
Oh no.
All right, ladies, we're sorry. We're sorry. We didn't mean it.
Don't say sorry to him. Say sorry to me.
No. This is your fault. I'm totally blaming the Canadian.
You should, because if he hadn't said something, it would have been fine.
Okay.
Oh, it's
As-
fine.
As long as he's wearing pants, then it's fine.
No, don't shut your Canadian hole.
Wow.
Oh no. Middle, as L'Oreal would say, Middle Earth after dark.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow, I've totally lost any train of thought that I had. It's gone. Bye bye.
There you go. Okay, now that we've
Hey, Bandy, did you notice my shirt?
You're not. Oh wow! Now we have officially jumped the shark.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Who invited Bandy?
I don't know. Is this retarded ginger? I'll see what I can do about that guy.
I just, oh God.
Did he call himself a retarded ginger?
No, I just said
Yep.
something bad. I'm sorry. There's a very, very painful story behind that shirt.
King Arthur.
No, right. And, another positive thing I'll definitely say about the movie is that I thought the action was actually pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the swordplay and the battle scenes, and I kind of like the little the little trick that they did towards the end when they let the infantry come into the wall and everything, and
I just couldn't
Yeah,
get
and
over the romanization of the film. It just,
Killed me.
yeah, it was an insult to British culture.
Sure
well,
did. Just like I said before, it was like the Dark Ages was because the Romans left and all the British people just were like eating rocks and banging their heads against the wall because they're so dumb and they couldn't have
course.
survived. But I was watching that King Arthur documentary that I had posted, and they were showing art and literature before and after the Romans. Now, the Romans did bring a lot of technology with them and leave it behind.
well, yeah. I mean,
That did
obviously.
define the culture.
Yeah, obviously they would have had a significant effect, and I'm willing to bet that there was probably a fair amount of chaos that ensued afterwards. But
And it did,
yeah,
for
even
sure.
though that doesn't mean that they were all idiots. I mean, after all, they gave us this, if you can read it at all.
Oh,
They didn't go-
Anglo-Saxon Chronicles.
Yep.
Oh,
Sitting in my Arthurian section, which happens to be right next to my desk here.
beautiful. Beautiful.
You know what one of the best Arthurian books I've ever seen is?
What's up?
As I saw it in Atlantic Books, it's called an Encyclopedia of Arthurian Myth, A to Z. And it's exactly what it says. It's amazing.
This one?
No, it's got like a blue cover.
Oh, okay. But this is the new Arthurian Encyclopedia, which I realize that the glare and everything actually.
Oh,
was really
as soon as I
Is it
saw it, I
brand
knew what
new?
you were talking about.
No, I it's not that brand new. I actually got this way back when I was in the Navy, like So this is probably like 13 years old at least.
It's a good book.
Saxon and Norman Kings, awesome.
But yeah, the whole Arthur thing, you know, back when I was a kid, very romanticized, and it was kind of like a big deal of
What I would
stories and stuff that was really awesome to.
Well, I think one of the most enduring things about the Arthur myth and what makes it really work is it's the hero's journey, and it's one of the earliest versions of the hero's journey. You know, you have Greek myth, and it just shows that the hero's journey is universal.
Well, it was this thing that they made King Arthur out to be, as this kind of like perfect person, right? He was nice, he was this, he was that, and again, like I said, it was all the ideals that they put into this one person that who knows how much of that was actually in this person. The real person, if there was such a thing, that there was, right? It was all the good, virtuous things that people thought of put into one person.
But if you think about
feelings.
it, Arthur wasn't that virtuous, because in the end, he condemned his wife.
Well, but
He
you see what they
couldn't
did
get
is
past that.
he was still human in the end, right? He made these mistakes, and it kind of was the downfall of his whole kingdom because of it. But
Well, and you know, she did totally cheat on him. At
She
least
totally did, but it doesn't give you the right. Well, I mean, I guess back then it kind of did to execute people.
Yeah, well, back then it really wasn't that odd, but obviously, yeah, not necessarily still the greatest thing in the world to be doing.
I just really want to see an Arthur movie with, and this is with any historic movie, with legitimate, like realistic, historically accurate swordplay.
That would be something to see, yes.
And I've seen
I'd
movies
watch
where I've seen a movie and been like, that's real or that's not. But to see the problem is, real swordplay when you see it is really boring.
Yeah, you probably don't get as much of the big sweeping.
Well, it's just one of the things my fencing instructor used to tell us is 90% of the time, if two blades come together, if they come apart, somebody did something wrong.
well,
That's entirely
it's true, and the whole stylized thing is much better, and it's hard because then what you have to do is to have real swordplay. You have to have committed studio. You have to have committed actors who prepared long before, like with The Matrix. I mean, many of the actors studied the kung fu or different martial arts with these Chinese fighters.
They
and it was 6
studied.
months, right? It was a long time. So,
But even there,
so they committed.
Well, I don't even need them.
there they studied movie martial arts.
I don't even
It's
need
always
them-
movie martial arts because that's more glamorous than what's actually happening. Not
Right.
to mention, you're not going to get that kind of commitment from the actors they would stick in a movie like that, like Zac Efron as King Arthur, like stupid things like that.
Oh.
I know.
Why would you
I
even
don't-
say that?
I don't even need. Well, hold on.
It's Hollywood.
I'm gonna stick up for young actors for a second. Logan Lerman was up until Michael York, or since Michael York, was the first D'Artagnan I've seen properly cast to age.
Which one was that?
Logan Lerman was the steampunk one.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I didn't see that.
D'Artagnan's supposed to be 17.
Hmm.
And you always
That
see
young.
him in his 20s. Yeah, he's supposed to be between like 15 and 17. Because look at the period. At that point, you're considered a young, self-serving adult.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
and you know, the Michael York version still stands out as the best. Oh, it's glorious.
It's a good movie.
But I will say this: the new one, if you watch it and you just turn your brain off, it's fun.
It
It's
does. It
fun.
looks like a freaking blast, actually.
And it had some surprisingly accurate moments to the book that really, really shocked me.
Really?
hmm Like they would twist stuff, but it was stuff you hadn't seen touched on in other Musketeer versions.
I find that interesting because I read the book years ago, and was like, oh yeah, not that I was surprised necessarily, but yeah, the Disney Three Musketeers. I'm like, wow, that's like pretty much a completely different book.
There's some, and one thing I found interesting about the Three Musketeers is almost every movie is half the book. Because D'Artagnan becomes a musketeer like halfway through the book. He earns his title, and he's done. And then they go into other adventures.
Well, they always do that. He comes, and then by the end of the movie, he learns to be the musketeer, right? And then they
Right,
sign
but
off.
he in the book, he is still a musketeer for halfway through the book.
Mhm.
He does stuff as a musketeer. And you don't see that much. The closest you get, again, is the York version, where they took it and they split it into two movies, The Three Musketeers and The Four Musketeers. The York version is the closest to the book, by far. And I will argue, I think who was it who played Athos? Richard Chamberlain, I think. He just steals every scene he's in. And maybe it's because I can relate to a big, gruff-looking guy as a musketeer who's agile, and I identify with that. But he sells it. And Michael York is just so irrepressible. And D'Artagnan in the book is not nearly as skilled as you would think. He, in the book, in the second or first chapter, he does something really stupid, and he charges Rochefort, and Rochefort just looks at his buddies and goes, "Shoot him." It's very Indiana Jones, and D'Artagnan gets shot and barely lives, and they break his sword, and it's brutal. Also, interestingly enough, every depiction of Rochefort we see has an eye patch. That is because of Christopher Lee's performance. He is never described as having an eye patch in the books.
Huh.
Right.
And that to me just says something about the iconic nature of that film.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Because I mean that's how I picture him because the Disney one where Michael Wincott is playing him, which
Wincott was great as Rochefort. He's just eating it up.
Michael Wincott is pretty much good in everything that he does. Because
Guy of Gisborne, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, because he makes such a total
jerk,
totally awesome, malicious bad guy.
He's got that serpentine growl to his voice, and he's like, I'm gonna shoot your mom and smile about it. He's just great.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think probably his best role, at least where he gets to shine the most that I've seen him in anyway, was actually when he played the bad guy in The Crow.
Yeah, he played top dollar, and he is just,
you have put a smile on my face,
friend. And he just sells it. I think he's very underrated, and I think he was underrated in Prince of Thieves, particularly because most of his scenes he played off Alan Rickman, and how can you hold a candle to Alan Rickman in anything?
Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be terribly memorable in that role because he's the guy who got his heart cut out with a spoon.
Literally, but you twit, best line in the whole movie.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the best lines ever.
And I would argue that's one of the movies that kept Alan Rickman in the limelight in the modern age, because people didn't watch that for Kevin Costner. You don't watch anything for Kevin Costner. You don't watch Kevin Costner for Kevin Costner.
That's true, actually. Nobody
Think about
watches.
it. Every Kevin Costner movie you see, James Earl Jones steals the show in Field of Dreams. Alan Rickman steals it in Prince of Thieves. Nobody steals it in anything that's bad. Waterworld, Postman. There's nobody there who to be better than Kevin Costner. So it's
true.
Just I'll give the guy credit. Dances with Wolves was pretty awesome.
There was another Kevin Costner movie that I actually liked, which was For Love of the Game.
Which I've never seen.
See, this is what actually really cemented in my mind that Sam Raimi is actually a really good director, because, one, he stepped out of his comfort zone with that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely not Evil Dead or Army of Darkness.
Or Spider-Man.
Well, this was way before Spider-Man. It might have been actually the movie that most helped him get that job, as a matter of fact. And I am not really a baseball fan.
Neither am I.
Just not it's just very ambivalent. But in much the same way, I am also very ambivalent about Kevin Costner. Take him or leave him. But you know what? He took those elements, things that I don't care about at all, and made a movie that I actually really liked. Freaking hands off to that dude.
There is another good Kevin Costner baseball movie, Bull Durham.
I've never seen the whole thing.
Bull Durham's funny.
That's a pretty good movie.
What is it with that dude with baseball and westerns?
But you know what? If you find something you're good at, do it.
I guess, yeah.
He was good in Robin Hood with that British accent.
Okay. See this fork?
This is over.
I'm going to come stab you with it.
You know what? I have to respect what he did. He tried and tried and tried, to do the British accent, and he wasn't good at it, so he said, you know what, I'm not going to do it.
You know, I didn't even really notice him doing the British accent at all.
It's 'cause
People
he
kept
went-
saying
Because he didn't do it before the movie. Like when he was trying to practice it, he was so horrible. He said, "I'm not going to do it."
well, that makes sense. I mean, yeah,
The problem is he's acting off of people who are doing it, so it just pulls you right out of the film.
yeah. I remember. I remember that people kept saying he forgets his British accent. No, he doesn't forget it. He never uses it. The person who forgets his British accent in the movie is Christian Slater.
Oh,
Yes.
oh.
Christian Slater, love it.
Christian Slater, who spent his entire career trying to be Jack Nicholson.
Oh my gosh, there was actually a bit on that. I think it was from you guys remember that what was it, John Lovett's show? It was a cartoon.
The Critic.
The Critic, yes. They actually did a thing where it was kind of a riff on A Few Good Men,
Right.
and it's Jack Nicholson. It's Jack Nicholson on the stand, but it's Christian Slater interrogating him. You know, it's like, you want the truth. You can't handle the truth. You act like me. You talk like me. You ain't got an original bone in your body.
Because it's true.
I was like,
I
wow.
want you to do that again, but
You
I
know.
want you to do it with the Jack Nicholson accent.
I don't know if I can pull that off. Sorry.
Today at work we were
You
doing the
haven't
whole.
got an original bone in your body.
I don't see the eyebrows. I need the eyebrows.
You haven't got an original bone in your body.
Nah.
You can't act. You act like me. You talk like me.
Oh dear.
Oh man. Oh.
So King Arthur.
The best
King Arthur.
King Arthur.
We were actually talking about Merlin before the show started. And I was talking about, there was this documentary that I saw about Merlin and the theory that this one guy had about, there was evidence showing that when King Arthur died, if there was such a thing, he had gone north to Scotland, where he became a member and converted to Christianity at this church, and then eventually moved back to his home, which was in Gaul, now France. And there was evidence in his church where they acknowledge with writings of this person called Myrddin.
Well, it's a Welsh translation. MYRRDIDDIN or MY.
Plus, with all the white stags painted around the church, that was Merlin's nickname. Was
That to me, and I know I come at this from a biased point of view, that to me sounds like Christianization of pagan myth, which is very common in that period, and it makes it easier to convert. Look, Merlin, your great hero, was a Christian, and he converted, so you should convert. Doesn't necessarily mean the story is not true, but that just smacks of just theological, political.
And it might be.
You know,
It might be.
doesn't make it not a cool story.
You know, that's one of those ones where, I mean, it's really hard to say for certain, probably one way or the other.
Yes, well, everything is 1,000 years ago. I mean,
Fair enough.
oh man, I just want a movie with accurate swordplay.
Yeah, good luck.
You know what? It's really hard because I have friends that always go to the show, and if there's swordplay, they criticize it, or I have some guys that are fighters that criticize it. The fact is that you still have to be able to see the actor's face, so it can't look accurate. Like, you can't hold your sword here when you should be because you can't see the actor's pretty face. So you're always going to have really wide open.
My
Openings.
fencing instructor had the best way to describe it ever, because he said it'll ruin movies for you if you let it. He said, pretend it's dancing.
Yeah.
It is a dance
all it
between
is.
two people. And to that point, you know what my favorite sword fight in all of film is? And people think I'm crazy. The three-way sword fight in the second Pirates of the Caribbean, where they're in the wheel and they're up on the presses, because it's just completely out the window.
Drives me nuts.
I love
hate
that fight.
That scene so much. It just went on for about 6 hours. That whole
It
scene.
was hilarious. And it didn't try to be anything else.
I mean, I would have to say that it probably went on a little too long.
But it starts out with Keira Knightley making fun of, let's just hit each other with our swords, and it doesn't try to be serious in any minute at all. And I loved it for it. It just the fight scene that irks me the most in every swordplay thing I've ever seen, and this is going to be blasphemy because everyone loves it, is the episode 3 lightsaber battle. Because there's a scene.
I agree with you. I hate that. I totally hate that lightsaber battle. Just for the simple reason, one, the ending is just totally ridiculous, and two, it goes on about 3 times longer than it needed to.
There is one particular sequence where they're in the main room and they're fighting, and Steve, you've fenced, so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Where they're swinging at each other's head, and Anakin parries like this. I've got a fork in my hand because my wife won't let me have swords in the house. Understandably so. And he goes like this, and then he goes like this.
I know the exact scene you're talking
about.
Yeah.
Exactly. It stands out because it's really close on his face when they do it. And Steve, you know that's called a static parry. And it is the worst thing you can do as a fencer, because instead of doing that and just blocking, what you're supposed to do is this, because you're blocking and setting yourself up to stab someone in the face, and they spend a good 10 seconds just going,
But I think they were trying to. That was when he was fighting Christopher Lee, right?
No, it's when he's fighting Obi-Wan. They're like fighting on the table, and they're going at each other. And
yeah, I think they kind of they kind of got really lazy by making
the prequels
by the third movie, because they go from being really good in the first one because they got in Ray Park. So if you notice, the fighting was very, very Chinese, right?
It was. It was very
Shaolin Kung Fu.
Very Asian.
Like, I met him once, and we said, "What is it? What art you did?" He said, "I do Shaolin." Okay.
Is he a nice guy? He seems like he'd be a nice guy.
Yeah, he was forced to. He was sued by the Toronto Comic Con because after he agreed to do the appearance, and then when he finished doing Star Wars, he got really big on himself, and then thought that he's not going to do it, and then he refused. He tried to break his contract, so they sued him, and then he came the following year. But he was gracious. He was fine. But then the second 2 movies became. The second one was more, again, back to that whole kendo style that was in the first movies.
Yes.
And I hate that because it's not the same kind of fighting art.
Well, and it's very kendo is very static. It's line fighting.
It's back and forth. Back and forth.
To use a German term, it's Unterhau, Overhau. Unterhau, it's understrike, upper strike, understrike, upper strike until somebody wins. And it's just when you have
speed.
When you have the lightning maneuverability of a Jedi, you're not going to just sit there and go, And as far as the episode 1 fight goes, I put a link in the chat room to a video I think anyone who has ever done any kind of fencing needs to watch, because there was always something about the episode 1 fights that bothered me, and this summed it up. It just hit it nail on the head. And I don't mean to bash on Star Wars just to bash on Star Wars. It's just there are.
Do you know what? When they come from, you're watching movies kind of develop in their fighting skill. When you look at, say, The Matrix and other movies like that really develop this kind of really awesome fighting style.
Yes.
And then Lucas, after that first movie, I thought, okay, Ray Park, like, it was very, very stylized fighting, which should have been with the Jedi. And I thought that's the way it was going to be. Then he just kind of put more into special effects and scenery than he did the actual fighting, and just said, you know what, the hell with it. Let's just go back to this whole really boring basic kendo style and just be done with it. And then you never really saw them fighting. It was just a lot of kendo.
And I would argue that of all the fight sequences as far as fencing go in the Star Wars films, the Empire Strikes Back fight sequence is by far the best, because if you go back and watch it and look at it this way, watch how Vader fights versus how Luke fights. Vader is very casual. Block, parry. And Luke is like giving it his all. He's desperate. He's trying. There is emotion there. It's not just 2 dudes looking pretty.
Do you know what the theory is there, though? And this is what Hobbs would always do in all his movies. He's the choreographer for, say, Princess Bride and many other. He was the fight choreographer for fencing in every single movie ever until he died. His theory was how he would do it was the guy that's the least skilled one, he always made move really, really fast. The more skilled one
Will
moved
relax.
slow,
Mhm.
which Luke was not ready to fight Darth Vader, and Darth Vader was just kind of toying him along.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the whole fight, and I didn't fence for about a year and a half, and I haven't fenced for a while. I need to go back. God, I miss it. The first thing I do is they do what they call a memory test, where they have you fight an instructor to see what you've retained. And I was going at my instructor with my all, like it was tough. And I'm proud that out of 10 matches, I won 2. But you could tell he was just.
Because you're seeing time, as my instructor would always say, see time, so you don't panic and fight the sword. The video that I just linked, this was long before the first Star Wars movie came out, and it gave us hope.
Or the Ho Brothers,
Art of the Saber. When I saw that, I said, Lucas has got to do this in his next movie. And when I saw Ray Parks, I was like, but then it turned into, and these two guys are awesome in this fight, because what I liked about it is not only were they using the saber, they did moves like elbowing, and it's very martial arty.
Yeah, and because I mean, there's a lot of grappling involved in swordplay, but they still had moments for the flourishes, and they're showing like where he sticks the sabers in the ground and grapples them back up.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It had those
the scene where he spins it around his neck.
Yeah,
that was crazy. Viking, you really have to watch this video. It's older. It's 2004 or something.
I've got to go in another window here.
And it's really cool. And the letter that he's reading from, it's supposed to be the one Jedi letter to his wife, which, not Jedi thing. It's an actual soldier's letter from the Civil War. Yeah, which is really cool. And the song is actually from We Were Soldiers.
Oh, neat.
I thought it was from Gladiator.
I thought it was when We Were Soldiers. Let me see here. A Civil War love letter from 1861. Revolution clashes. Oh, it doesn't say. Darn.
I have to ask, totally off subject. I'm looking at the banner for Beer and Popcorn.
Uh-huh.
There's obviously Kylie. There's obviously the Viking. Why is Steve the little Gollum-looking DJ in the background?
That is not Steve. That is actually the Cheshire Cat.
Okay. That's not me?
It looks more like Steve. Steve is the sheep in the background. I get it.
That's very bad to say.
Nice. 2 cool points just for that. I'm getting the feeling that I might have seen this video before, but it was a long time ago.
It's circulated on the internet forever.
Oh yeah, and it's been on theforce.net in the fan film section for a long time. I know that.
We always made jokes though that the one guy that loses his really slick-looking track pants. There wasn't a budget, right?
Kenobi brings up water dancing in Game of Thrones. And that's a really good, interesting point. I love the idea of water dancing. To me, is very clearly single rapier fencing, but I love the psychology behind it. You can't be afraid to die. You can't worry about things. You have to live in the moment. There's only one prayer, is to the God of death, and there's only one prayer we make to him, and it is not today. It's so simple and elegant, yet completely impossible. Well, not impossible, but extraordinarily difficult to wrap your head around.
They totally made that character, or the writer, that character, an Italian fencing master. That's what he was. And there's a janitor. There's a janitor in our building. I have to take a photo of him.
It's just like him.
He's identical. It's like the same person. And I want him to sword fight with me just because.
What's funny is in the book, you've read the books, right, Steve, or some of them?
By books, you mean watch the show? Yes.
Okay, then no. In the books, he physically looks completely different.
Oh, really?
He's tall and lean and razor bald. And a lot of the fanboys threw a fit, but it was so clearly an homage to the classic Italian fencing master.
Well, all the stuff that he's talking about it's all how they teach in fencing and all the theories, and this is how you do it, and this is how you do it, and how the technique that he would use it. And it's funny that they call it her dance classes, because a lot of times they would call it the School of Dance.
Yes.
That was the martial art club, School of Dance, because you were...
Because it was a dance.
It
You
was
were,
a dance.
Yep.
It wasn't called fight class, and it wasn't
Right.
really called a martial art then. Well,
That's kind of funny because the place I go to for martial arts is actually in a dance studio.
It makes sense. It's a lot of the same physical motions.
come on, Viking, you're just dancing, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's okay.
no
We're not gonna.
ballet.
No.
We're not gonna judge.
No. Oh, you would if you saw me dance.
Yeah, but we just knowing you dance, we're not gonna
We
judge.
see James without a shirt. I think you owe us a dance.
No.
Uh-oh.
In fact, no. In fact, because of that, I definitely do not owe anyone a dance.
I am.
Well, everyone
You don't
has
have to do it with a
suffered
pole. I just said normal dancing. There's no pole needed.
It's funny because I love the cultural reflection in the different fencing styles. Like I've studied exclusively German fencing, and it's direct and it's brutal, and you're dead really quick. There is arguably no grace to this at all. It is the fight is over in 3 seconds, or it lasts 5 minutes, and there are two sweaty, angry men at the end, which sounds oddly like many of my experiences in life.
Two angry, sweaty men. Well, that brings us back to the pole dancing.
Oh, whoa.
And good night, folks.
That's all we've got.
Welcome, James, to the stage.
Okay, this is just more evidence that we need Kylie here to keep us in check, because we
I agree.
totally
This
go off the rails.
quickly degenerating into Tuesday nights.
Oh my goodness.
Did we agree on that one title? Totally off subject. Did we agree on that title?
I'm good with it.
I'm good with it too. I
Okay.
really,
The only other one that we haven't actually heard from is Roz.
I thought it was Ross who came up with it.
Nope, that was me actually.
That was you.
Yeah.
That was
That's smart.
I have flashes, milliseconds of brilliance.
That was great. It was perfect.
that was after a nice binge of absinthe one night. And
Oh, he's a Viking. They drink mead.
That's right. We do drink mead.
I had
Mead.
absinthe for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
what?
Was it the real
That's-
stuff?
Yeah, it was real. It was like $100 bottle of absinthe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was
Understand. You took a trip to a foreign country where that's legal, and
No, it's legal in America now.
It is really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
You can
that.
drink. You can drink it in the States now.
Oh, wow.
Every single state? Wow.
Yep.
Wow, I was
but yeah.
unaware of this.
Yep. It is legal in this. It happened like a year or two ago, but you can drink absinthe in the States now.
Ooh.
Wow.
The cereal forel.
I'm sure you can drink it here too. We can do everything in Canada.
But yeah, you guys are much Canadian. You do whatever you want.
Exactly.
One of the only way I can describe it is actually the best description. Are you a fan of black licorice?
Yes.
Then you will like it.
Yes, I am.
Then you will like it.
Okay, cool.
It was black licorice that was warm in the tummy.
How come I get the feeling that James is trying to get you drunk right now?
I think it's possible.
He's
I
like
hope this
that.
isn't related to the pole dancing.
It's like that creepy date.
And I would like to point out that's probably not the case. I'm wearing a shirt now.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But
Well,
you weren't at
now.
the beginning. Yeah,
But
Oh crap! There's a butt. In fact, there is a butt. Oh dear. So anyway, yes. So we have definitely wandered far afield
a little bit.
on this
This is what happens
episode.
when you let me in calls.
were we talking about what, King Arthur or something? Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we should probably wrap this up since we have actually gone on for about an hour and a half now, as opposed to the customary hour. So let's break off with favorite King Arthur. Favorite King Arthur movie, and you may include animated or things made on TV.
Ooh.
What's everyone saying here?
Thinking.
I'm actually torn.
No Fear throws out Mists of Avalon.
Mist of Avalon was really good.
I have never seen it myself.
Mist of Avalon was really good.
Is that the book, right?
It was a book. We know you don't read.
They did a made-for-TV thing. Did they not?
It was-
Okay.
It was very good. I'm torn between, and people are going to think I'm cheesy for this, of course, Excalibur,
No, well, yeah.
or the made-for-TV miniseries with Sam Neill, Merlin.
Yeah, I've never seen that, actually.
It was cheesy, but, I mean, it was made for
I forget
TV.
that.
Oh, man, it was great. It was so neat.
Have you guys watched the Merlin TV show? The
No.
British.
No.
I have.
Is it any good?
Some of the fighting, it's really good. It's that loose, not in your face, so you can see my face fighting. But I find it really interesting how they use the sword and shield. But it just drives me nuts. It's kind of it centers around Merlin, and he's kind of this snarky kid and stuff like this, and blah blah blah. And King Arthur is like the dumbest moron on the planet, and King Arthur and Merlin's saving him, and the scenery is really good.
One of the best Arthur stories I've ever read. My wife tried to get me to read these books for years, and I fought her on them. And finally, I read them. Mary Stewart wrote a series of books that begins with a book called The Crystal Cave. Oh,
I've never heard of it.
beautiful. There's 4 books in the series. Skip the last 2. Just read the first 2 books, and it begins with Merlin at childhood and just goes to Arthur when he becomes king, and it's magnificent. Oh man!
Interesting. No, I've never even heard of it.
Oh man! Oh,
Oddly
they're
enough.
glorious.
I think with that Merlin TV show, they have to graduate into getting that next step. Like I haven't watched it in a while, but because King Arthur's father's still in charge of Camelot, and Arthur's the kid, but the father's disallowed all magic in the kingdom because of the choices he's made. So he thinks all magic's evil. So Merlin is keeping it a secret. Now I don't know if Arthur's found out yet, but there's been many times like they become good friends. It's a natural progression that he should be able to come out and say, yeah, I'm magic, and then move on and change the series to Merlin and Arthur in Camelot or something.
Being bros.
Yes.
Basically the Merlin and Arthur bromance.
It'll be a buddy cop movie.
I think that would be great.
Except
I
with
think
a
that would
sword.
be great because Merlin is the reflection of intellect and wit, and Arthur has charisma and strength. It's a very natural pairing. It's a very natural pairing.
Absolutely. This needs to be done.
They should move on
Needs to be done. Uther has to bite it so they can.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be interesting to turn Uther into an antagonist. And,
That would be a new twist.
I mean, I don't know.
It
I can talk about alternate ideas for Arthurian myth all day, and we've already run 40 minutes over because you let me come in the call and take my shirt off.
Which always
We
makes people
only
want to
let you
stick
in
around.
because you took your shirt off.
Oh man.
That's why Steve let you in.
Hells yeah.
I need to
So
smoke.
I would definitely have to say that my fave was actually Excalibur. Although to be perfectly honest, that one is the acting is
Oh, it's terrible.
special,
Horrible.
very special, memorable for
it's
all the
horrible.
wrong reasons.
Horrible.
Yes,
But you know what? It never claims to be otherwise.
I have friends that have memorized the spells that Merlin would do. Every word, every whatever it was,
Well,
they've memorized
actually,
them.
this is an homage to those who are following Torah. There is a song that Thalgrid is going to sing in his prelude. It is Merlin's spell of weaving the mist that we put to a tune
Oh, cool.
as an homage to Excalibur.
Speaking
So-
speaking of Torah, is that on your guys' website?
Torah is on
the
Torah.
blog or whatever?
Tora.mymiddleearth.com. We
Awesome.
are presently in production on the second episode. Tyler he does the lion's share of work on that, and
Of
God
course.
love him. He's got baby going on, and
Right, I know. Yeah,
when you name your daughter Arya, you got to expect you're going to be busy. But if he doesn't get her dance lessons, I'm going to be mad at him. I'm just saying.
They need to find an Italian fencer for her then.
What about you, Stevie? You're a Canadian fencer. It's kind of the same thing.
Kind of
Yeah, just taller.
taller.
Yeah,
Yeah, more
Tyler is
Canadian.
about Tyler is about 3,500 miles away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's
Food every week.
yeah, once a week, just fly out. Meet in the middle. Meet in Nebraska. Oh man. Well, all right.
James's
think
book he's calling.
Oh hey, what? So, what should we do for next week? Question.
My vote, and it's because I'm ridiculously and I'm just showed up, took my shirt off. That's what I do. I say The Rocketeer. If you guys haven't already done it.
The Rocketeer. That's an interesting throwback.
It's underrated, and God, I love that movie.
I've only seen it the one time, but I do remember enjoying it, and I suspect that you are correct in that it is underrated. For one, it has Timothy Dalton as the bad guy.
It's Timothy Dalton as the bad guy. What interesting Rocketeer trivia, the guy who played the Rocketeer, Billy Campbell, he got the role because when he went into audition, he intentionally cut his hair like the Rocketeer character from the comics,
well, that makes sense.
Went in a bomber jacket.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
He fought the other role. And also, this is part of my secret petition for Joe Johnston to direct Star Wars.
Well, the secret's out. But, you see, I really like Timothy Dalton. Like, for my money, he is a vastly underrated Bond in my mind. But I also realize that
we can't be friends anymore.
I was gonna say, I know I am in the vast minority in
That's
that
right,
opinion.
I like Daniel Craig. I think Daniel Craig is one of the best Bonds I've ever seen.
I haven't actually watched any of his Bond movies yet. Honestly, the Pierce Brosnan one's pretty much really soured Bond for me. It's especially because I was so looking forward to him playing James Bond.
And it didn't quite work. He came off as too smarmy for me.
Just everything about it. It was all too. Everything about it was just way too slick and polished, and it was, there was absolutely no pretense about, about integrating the gadgets into the storyline. It was all about weaving the storyline around the flippin' gadgets.
And I'm telling you, then go back and watch the Craig Bond, because Craig is a gritty, pretty realistic for James Bond. I mean, he is tough as nails.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of really good things about his James Bond, to be perfectly honest, and I will probably get around to it one of these days.
Of course.
But so I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Steve? What do you think of James's suggestion?
Sure.
Anybody
What was that? The
Rocketeer.
Rocketeer, yeah.
Anyone in the chat room with an opinion? Yay or nay? I'll give it a few seconds since there is still a bit of a delay going through this.
Never heard of it.
Yeah,
well, it'll be something new to watch, Nofier. Something new to watch and enjoy. I guarantee you'll watch it.
Thou hast not heard of The Rocketeer? I think this is almost a reason why we have to do it. Because, we have to fix this problem. It is our duty as good movie-loving nerds to educate the greater public on those things on which they should be educated about. And
Kenobi's up for it.
Kenobi is game. Anybody? I think that's it. I think
everybody else left when I
correct.
took my shirt off.
Well, yeah,
I don't blame them.
Yep. Cheese left. So everyone who has an opinion, everyone who's here has expressed an opinion, and I think we're good. I think we'll do The Rocketeer next week.
I'll have to show up for that.
No fear does bring up the point that there are hardly any more rental stores. However, if obviously you have a computer with the interwebs, Amazon Instant has a vast selection of movies that you can rent from. And as a matter of fact, me and the fam, we just rented, actually we bought and watched Black Beauty off of Amazon Instant.
Oh, great flick!
Just earlier tonight, as a matter of fact, and watched it right on the TV because we happen to have that app. So, you can tell. In fact, the last two of the last three movies we've done on the show, I've I've done by watching them on Amazon Instant and renting them for like $3 or something like that, which is still a bit for how old the movie The Rocketeer is, but still, that's worth that's worth checking into for you there, No Fear, or for anyone else who's
The
having a hard
Rocketeer
time.
it's just an amazing film. I'm sorry, I'm totally biased, and I love that movie.
Yeah. I think we can do that. And I think we should, since we did just kind of unofficially decide here on the air what the name of the Tuesday show is going to be. I think we should say it here, and so everyone can,
Go for it.
Well, ladies, actually, just ladies that are out there in the chat room.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
I'm channeling my Loco character there for a minute.
And anyone else who happens to be watching this after the fact, that Tuesday show that we've done the last 2 weeks now that has not had a name, now officially has a name. It shall henceforth, and for all time until we decide to change it, be known as Random Fandom, because we like to rhyme.
All the time. We know it's a crime.
No more rhyming. I mean it.
Want a peanut?
Nah, thank you. I was hoping one of you guys would get
These
that.
two and Princess fries.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
I think James should just go back to taking his shirt off.
No. Curse you, Steve. I'm gonna come over there and stab you with your own sword.
Hold on, there
I'm
you
not,
go.
I'm not looking at the
There you go.
at the
Here you go. Let me
monitor.
help you
So.
out. There's a fork for you.
Oh, thanks.
No, because you got a fork there and you reach down and pick it up, that'd be our special effects budget at work.
Okay, I'm gonna have to have props next time.
No Fear just asked, what's the point of Random Fandom? That's a very good question.
That I
When
think,
we know, we'll figure it out. We'll let you know. At this point, it is a collection of nerds getting together, talking about this week in nerd news.
Well, it is
Yep.
just kind of a random, unscripted stuff, not just about Tolkien, but it's about fantasy and sci-fi and anything else.
Yep.
So it's not kind of like a, kind of a scripted thing.
Yep, anything that kind of trips our trigger, tickles our fancy, blows our hair back, we'll bring it up and talk about it. It's Tuesday night at 9:30. It's kind of taking the place of the Founders Inklings, actually.
Well, the Founders moved to Thursday, didn't it?
No, I followed up.
Okay.
I followed up with Cheshire on that, and the Founders themselves are actually still getting together and having their meetings on what is likely still going to be Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're doing is they're doing something crazy. They're having actual meetings. Yes, actual meetings, which just isn't necessarily as entertaining as the show that we wound up getting, which, let's face it, that was not a business meeting.
It was fun.
Awesome and a ton of fun. But not a business meeting. And I
No
think
Fear just pointed out so Star Wars, and that seemed to dominate the conversations. And that's actually a valid point, because Star Wars has dominated nerd fandom since the Disney purchase. So that was the topic that was front to foremost. But, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. The new Star Trek movie coming out. Of course, The Hobbit and the, sequels.
Of course, yeah.
Comic book news. It's not meant to be tied to any one thing.
Right. I mean, obviously, there's like you said, there's going to be Star Wars stuff like crazy for the next freaking 10 years as they put out this new trilogy. It's the next 3 years at least. Let's face it, it's going to pretty much dominate because we're going to salivate over every single little tidbit that comes out, and it's going to be fun.
I'm a little disturbed that no one's talking about how that new Twilight movie is going to dominate.
Continue to be disturbed, especially since The Hobbit has already outsold advanced ticket sales for.
That's right.
Has it really?
Twilight. Yes, as a matter of fact, it has.
Yep.
I'm upset. My local theater still doesn't have a midnight showing listed yet.
What?
Yeah, I pre-ordered my tickets for the extended edition marathon.
Wrong.
Yeah, I cried a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, just walk in there with your shirt off and demand a midnight
To
showing.
be taken away by security.
I think they'll be sure to acquiesce to your demands.
I don't know if you know where I live, but most people don't know what acquiesced means.
You take
well,
your shirt off and go in there, they'll find out. Really
well,
quick.
you should definitely walk in the air without your shirt on and a baseball bat, and then scream, kneel before Zod with your demands, of course.
Okay, when I'm getting carried about by the police.
Yeah.
How do I take the divorce papers from my wife when I'm wearing handcuffs?
With your teeth, of course.
Oh, okay. Well, this all makes sense.
How else would you do it? I mean, seriously. I mean, assuming that you still had pants on too.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I brought that up again.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we should probably really wrap it up now, and we'll see everybody. Well, actually, the three of us will actually probably see you on Tuesday night.
Tuesday.
Although I'm also going to take this opportunity to let you guys know that I will probably be a little late. I have another meeting. I have like an actual in real life meeting that I have to go to on Tuesday night.
Well,
So
hold
I'll-
on.
Cool.
As a friend of mine says, with things, and this again goes back to Canada for me. Whenever someone says in real life, I always think of a friend of mine who uses the phrase, "When you die in Canada, you die in real life."
That's awesome. All right.
He looks like he's gonna reach through the computer and just punch me in the neck.
He's not even dignifying that with a response.
I'm just trying to find out how I can pat you on the head. There we go.
All right. Hey guys, we will talk to you all later. Good night.
Good night, everyone.